So marketing can be a real pain in the ass, right? Who's with me? When it works, it's brilliant. It's all handshakes and high fives and woohoo! We've just got a successful launch. We've just made that big sale. Everything is tickety-boo. But when marketing doesn't work, it has the potential to cause us a lot of pain and sometimes injury. Injury not just to the business, but also to us as individuals. And especially as speakers, our product is us. So if it doesn't work, then we tend to take that a little bit personally, right? I don't think I'm the only person that takes it personally if somebody doesn't buy me. And the type of hurt that I'm talking about is the sort of hurt that makes a father come home to his family and put his head in his hands going, I don't know what else to do. And that was my dad when I was younger. He used to come home from work and he'd put his heart and soul into doing business, into building relationships with his clients and to trying to make sales. So when the sale didn't go through, it hurt the business, obviously, but it hurt him personally. He took an emotional hit. Years later, I experienced that hurt when I set up my business. And I studied engineering, and I don't know if anybody's ever studied engineering here, but they don't teach you very much about sales and marketing. So when I rocked up with my market stall trying to sell my olive oil and I sold nothing on my first day, I felt that hurt more than ever. So over the years, I started to experience it more and more. And because I studied engineering, I saw this as a problem. Because I didn't think it was fair that the businesses that were doing really well, the businesses that were all high fives and handshakes, weren't the businesses that gave a damn about their customers. They weren't the businesses with the best products or the best services. They were the businesses that were better at sales and marketing. And I didn't think that was fair. So, like any engineering student, I started to have a look at why that was. Why were the best businesses with the best products, the best services, the best kept secret in their industry? And what could I do about that? So at the time, I was working for a company and I started to build some momentum. I made a lot of mistakes. I learned from them. I started doing things better. And I achieved some impressive results, both from the marketing and from the sales. Years later, I decided to set up a business and to help other people. Because I thought, right, what is the solution to this problem? The solution to this problem is I need to go and teach people how to do sales, how to do marketing. I need to teach them what to do and show them how to do it. And for the last 5.5 years, that is exactly what I've been doing. Yet, this is how a lot of my clients feel when they come to me. A couple of years ago, I was working with 2 directors of a business. Now, the business was doing really well, but they wanted to get more sales. They wanted to do more with their marketing, and they wanted to know how to do things better. So I went in there, I was like, right, I'm going to teach you what you need to do differently, and I'm going to show you how to do it. 2 directors in the same room, experiencing the same training. One of them generated £250,000 worth of new business in 3 months. The other one, anybody guess how many sales that person brought in? None. So what was the difference? And this wasn't the first time that had happened either. It seemed to keep happening over and over again. I was putting my heart and soul into teaching people how to do things differently, but there were still a lot of people that weren't taking action and they weren't doing anything. So let's address the elephant in the room for a second. Because let's face it, we all know what we need to do, and we all know how to do it. And if we don't know how to do it, there are thousands of articles online that will tell us how to do it. There are people that will teach us how to do sales and marketing. And when Nathan rang me to ask me to come and speak at this event, I thought, brilliant, I'm going to get the otters out and I'm going to come and show you how to do sales and marketing. I'm going to give you lots of tips and you're going to scribble them all down and go back to work energized with a long list of things to do. Yet, as Nathan said earlier, how many people in this room would actually go home and implement everything on that list? That's all right. And we all do it. We all go home with the best of intentions. We all know that whenever we want to do something, get really excited by doing that next course, by learning that new thing, by going to see that conference speaker that we all love, writing down notes. And has anybody here ever written the same tip down more than once? Yeah. So this is the problem. The solution to the problem isn't, I need to teach you how to do sales and marketing and show you what to do. The problem is, how do I get you to all do the things that you know you need to do? And this is what I want to talk to you about today. I want you to get curious and to really understand why you're doing the things that you're doing. And I want to share with you a few things that I've observed that might help you. The first thing, what are you avoiding? And I see this a lot. One thing I ask my clients is to write an I'm avoiding this list, because typically the things that you're avoiding are actually the things that you need to do the most. Like Donna, amazing Donna. We were talking, we came to this conference this time last year. We spent 3 hours in a car talking about sales and marketing. And Donna saying, I find marketing really, really frustrating. I'm overwhelmed by it. But I've got this mailing list full of people that I've spoken to over the last 4 years, and I'm not emailing them because I don't want to come across as spammy or too salesy. Anybody else felt like that? Yeah? Or a client of mine, well, many clients of mine, how many people here have ever thought, I just need to ring that client? Yeah? Just follow up on a sale. And then you come to pick up that phone and you think, no, I'm going to put it down. What if they say no? Next time you're in that situation, I want you to ask that question. I don't want you to ask, what if they say no? I want you to ask, what if they say yes? And if they don't say yes, what if they give you some insight that you can then use in your marketing afterwards? Because there's no such thing as no. And also, there's no such thing as failure in sales and marketing. There's only learning. And that, for me, was the biggest thing that I took away from my engineering degree, was that failure is actually a good thing, as long as you learn something from it. So if you're avoiding picking up the phone, if you're avoiding sending emails to your clients, you might also be avoiding asking for help. And my friend Andy Lapata at the back has a brilliant book all about asking for help. And if you ask any angel investor or any VC about their biggest frustration with the businesses that don't succeed, it's usually that the founder didn't ask for help before things got out of hand. So I was having a look at a lot of things that people are avoiding. And then I started to notice that there are a lot of people ignoring things. Like Simon, who's posting amazing videos on LinkedIn with lots of really great talk tactics. But he was ignoring the fact that his competitors were the people that were engaging the most with his content, not his actual clients. Or my client Neil, and he was at the end of his tether because he was ignoring his gut feeling that was telling him that something wasn't right. He was working with a marketing agency that was spending lots of his money, his personal money, on Google Ads that weren't working. And it was only after 6 months of coming to me before he said something. £9,000 later, no sales, no leads. If we look at Blockbuster, Kodak, yeah, successful businesses, thriving, making a fortune in the news, reaping all the glory, ignoring what their market was telling them. And now they are no more. And then I started to notice that there are a lot of people reacting to things, not responding to things. And I love the word respond because respond and responsibility are very closely linked. Yet when it comes to marketing, a lot of people start reacting to things. Especially when you see that next new amazing thing on social media. You need to be on TikTok, you need to be doing Instagram Reels, you need to be doing this, and this. And it's distracting. I've worked with a lot of people that will come and say, oh, right, well, I've tried this marketing planning tool and I want to try yours now. And usually my first question is, well, what's not working from the first marketing tool and why do you want to have a look at something else? How many people in this room used this platform when it came out? Yeah, a few people. Anybody else still using Clubhouse? Yeah, anyone? A little bit, okay. One person in the room. Cool, we're doing well. Yeah, so the internet goes crazy. Everybody goes, there's this new social media tool. It's great. It's going to help us grow our business. Let's use it. And everybody got very excited. But for everything that we say yes to, we have to say no to something else. And sometimes when we have a look at that I'm avoiding this list, you might find that you're reacting to things like this as an excuse to avoid doing these. And all of these things that I'm saying is all based on my own experience, because I do these things as well. You're not alone. So I kept being curious and kept having a look at what are people avoiding, what are they ignoring, and what are they responding to. And I started thinking that what do all of these people have in common? That a lot of this behavior was underlined with fear and uncertainty. And a few years ago, I had a baby, found myself pregnant, and there was a lot of uncertainty around what was going to happen next. So I did, what we all do. I did a course. I went and learned how it all worked. But what was really interesting about this course was that it talked about the science of how we give birth. Our uterus has a job. The job of the uterus is to get rid of a baby. Yeah? It needs a lot of blood to do that. And when it has enough blood, then it does its job properly. Yet, when we experience fear or uncertainty or challenge, the blood goes from our uterus into our limbs and we go into fight, flight, or freeze mode. And when our uterus doesn't have enough blood in it, theoretically, that's when we experience pain. Now, I was listening to that course going, what? So you're telling me that if I can get rid of fear, I can have a pain-free birth? Yeah, 4 days later. That being said, there were periods of that time that I did experience pain-free. When I was feeling comfortable, I was feeling at ease. And I can pinpoint the exact times that things started to go wrong was when I was experiencing fear and uncertainty. So for me, if we can address the problem of how do we remove that fear and uncertainty from our sales and marketing, that is how we enable people to be more successful with their sales and marketing. And that is how we stop people experiencing the pain. So I love to map out things on a graph. And we experience like commercial pain, commercial success. So if we go right around here, and that's usually when people come to me. They're in this sort of zone, they're experiencing lots of commercial joy, and they want to do better. Or they're in this zone, and they're experiencing commercial pain, and they want to know how to solve it. Very rarely does anybody ever talk to me about emotional pain. Yet commercial pain is really easy to solve as a sales and marketing expert, because I can go in and I can tell you exactly what you need to do to change things. But when there's emotional pain involved, that's when things take a little bit longer. And this is what I really want to talk to you here today, and to give you some tools and tactics about how to identify emotional pain and be able to recover from previous pain, as well as react and respond positively to current pain. Because when we're experiencing joy and the business is going well, I had to get the otters in here somewhere. It's all tickety-boo, we love it. But when the business is not going well and we're not enjoying ourselves, do a little dance here, we start to experience pain. And for the first time ever, I got to experience what it's like to be in this quadrant. And I'm not going to lie that when Nathan asked me to come and speak at this event, I started to feel really, really uncomfortable. All of the imposter moments kept coming in because I found myself in this quadrant. I'd had the best year in business last year, but I wasn't happy. Things weren't right because I realized that I was doing a lot of sales coaching and I was also having a lot of client sessions that were very similar to the sort of therapy sessions that I was also having. And I am not a qualified therapist. I also realized that actually, what am I driven by? What motivates me? Why am I in business in the first place? I'm in business because I want to make change. Yes, I like money, like everybody. I need money. I like it. I like nice things. But at the same time, it's not what motivates me. It's not what makes me get out of bed in the morning. I'm motivated by impact and positive change. And I found that actually teaching people how to do sales and marketing wasn't achieving that change. And I needed to do something differently. Now, I believe that there is an opportunity in front of every challenge. And I thought, right, okay, so I'm doing this talk. Great. I'm going to stress myself out to no end, write something new, and I hope it goes down really well. Because I do believe that this stuff is hard. If you're afraid of something, you might not even know what you're afraid of. But when you do know what you're afraid of, or if you don't like that element of uncertainty, then that stuff is really difficult to overcome. So before you think that this is like a really depressing talk, I am going to give you some tips on how to overcome it. But what I do want to say is that we're in business, we're already risk takers. We're already taking a huge risk because being in business for yourself is not easy. Being in business where you are your product is even harder. So we need to be kind to ourselves and we need to have a look at the opportunities that are in front of us. So I want to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable for a moment. You don't have to do this, but anybody that wants to do this, please feel free. And the way that we can solve this problem is we can imagine that we are Robin Hood. Okay? Now I live in Nottingham and I am surrounded by Robin Hood icons. And there is a statue of Robin Hood and he's stood there and he's got his bow and arrow and he's looking fiercely at his goal. And what every archer does is they have to draw back in order to release. And if they want to hit their target, that arrow needs to track in a straight line. But if the air around Robin Hood is full of particles, it might be a bit windy, it might be a bit cloudy, then his arrow is going to go off target. So I want you to think about how do you clear the air around you? And I've put like little cards on your table so you can sort of scribble some notes if you like. And if anybody's not clocked, AIR stands for avoiding, ignoring, and reacting to. Make an I'm avoiding this list. It's what's going to help you move forwards the most.
It's solid. That's bucket. Could you see?
So make an I'm avoiding this list. So A stands for what are you avoiding? Then have a look at what are you ignoring. Now, you can be ignoring things that might make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, but also Donna, I'm going to use Donna as an example because she's the most brilliant example ever. Donna was ignoring the fact that she's actually sitting on 150 videos on YouTube with tips about how her clients can help move forwards with their challenges. And Donna changes lives. So Donna was sat there going, I don't want to come across salesy. I don't want to come across as spammy. And our conversation went a little bit like this. But Donna, what if you were to send an email to somebody at a moment where they needed you the most? How would it make you feel if you were to open that email, if that person was to open that email and your email was to change their course of action for the better? And what did you say?
I just said that it would be the most amazing thing if I could just change one person. It would just be, I'd be done. Awesome.
So Donna said it would be the most amazing thing if she could change the life of just one person at one moment. So once we had a look at what is she avoiding, we looked at what is she ignoring, because she was ignoring all of the amazing assets that were in front of her. She was also ignoring all of the positive feedback from her clients that told her that what she did transformed lives. Has anybody else here ever felt a moment that you're an imposter, that you're not supposed to be here and that actually there are other people better than you? Yeah? So just then read a testimonial from a client, or to all of a sudden get an email from somebody telling you that actually you're doing a really good job. Keep a list of all of the signs and signals from your clients that remind you that you're doing a good job, that the thing that you're working towards is the thing that you're actually achieving. Because I had a conversation with Donna, who is now emailing that list every week. And she told me that it has transformed her marketing and her approach to marketing. And it has opened up so many different ways of conversing with her clients, as well as getting her sales opportunities too. So sometimes the thing that we're avoiding is actually the thing that we need to do the most. So Robin Hood, right? Back to Robin Hood. Does anybody want to stand up for me for a moment? It's optional. I couldn't talk about fear and uncertainty without making you feel a little bit twitchy, so stand up and don't be British for a minute. Okay, so I want you to imagine that you're Robin Hood, right? And I want you to look either to the left or to the right or in front of you, and I want you to see the target in front of you. Yeah? On that target is the reason why you are in business for yourself. Okay? Look at that target in front of you. So I want you to stand strong foundations with a solid base. Okay, I want you to imagine that you've got a big bow and an arrow, and I want you to focus on that target. Okay, see it in your sights. Do you need to draw back a little bit or a lot in order to get that arrow accelerating forwards? And then I want you to draw back and release. Okay, so next time you start feeling a little bit uncomfortable at the thought of sales and marketing, I want you to imagine that you're Robin Hood. I want you to set those foundations, picture that target, and go for it. Okay? So, before you do that, always clear the air. Always have a look at what are you avoiding, what are you ignoring, and what are you reacting to. Keep those lists up to date. Don't just rely on it. Because if you're anything like me, you react to shiny objects on a daily basis. So that reacting to list might get quite long at certain times. So clear the air. Second thing that I want you to have a look at is to keep a list and a record of all of the signs and signals from your market. What are the positive things that your clients are telling you? What evidence do you have in front of you that tells you that you're doing a good job? Keep a record and keep referring back to it, because that will keep your gaze on that target as strong as ever. And also take things one step at a time. Focus on progress, not perfection. Because the longer you wait to put something out there, the longer you wait to ring that client or to email your database, the longer you're going to wait to get that feedback from your market. And that feedback from your market is going to tell you if it's landing well or if it's not landing well. And you might find that your steps that you need to take to move forwards, they might be normal steps. You might find that you might need to get into a bit of a trot. You might run a little bit. Some people can take massive, giant steps forward. And you might look at those people thinking, what are they doing to make them go forward at that pace? But you know what? It doesn't matter, because everybody is running their own race. So you need to take whatever size step forward that you need to take in order to get going. And if you take nothing from this talk, please let it be this, is that the reason why you're all in business and the reason why you're doing this, you're speaking, you're in business, you're taking these risks, look at your target and use that as a force stronger than the fear that's trying to stop you. Thank you.